Just like a conversation that I'm having to try and get to know my neighbors, because we all live in Ballard and you're part of the community, just like whether you're housed or unhoused. But I just start. John, tell me about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
I was born on Guam. My she talks about being in the hospital, out of the hospital. She never really went to the hospital for doing I guess what they do here in the mainland.
Okay.
But I guess to Guam, I was born there. My parents, they traveled a lot from Guam to Vegas to a lot of cities in the United States. My father was a handyman. His nickname was the Man for some reason. So I haven't really been posted anywhere to say that I grew up there, but from my memory it was 8 years on, back and forth, you know what I mean? So 8 years on Guam, then I spent a little bit of time in Vegas, and back to Guam for another 4 years. Then I went to Idaho, lived in Orofino, Idaho for 13 years. After that, I had moved back to Las Vegas. That's where my father's side was. So I connected with them down in Vegas. After Vegas, I just traveled back up north, and I came to Seattle to just be near my sister, check on my sister, make sure she's good.
I was going to ask if you grew up with siblings. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you and your sister? Mm-hmm. That's it?
Just here in Seattle would be just me and my sister, yeah.
Gotcha. And growing up, you were with mom and dad?
Our family's dysfunctional.
Well, join the club.
Yeah, so,
join the club.
My sister, she didn't grow up with our biological mother.
Okay.
It's could be like a 20 series, movie book with how her life is, my life is, and my family. But
well, tell me some of those parts, a couple of those parts that stick out to you.
The fact that my family, it didn't matter if we were drinkers or if we did drugs or not. It was more so like, oh, you shouldn't do that because it's bad. It was more so like, handle your liquor, handle your drugs and alcohol. If you can handle it, cool. If you can't, then go seek help. I like to do dumb stuff. Not on purpose, but on purpose. My mother told me to figure it out. So down in Vegas, I worked the whole time I was there. Was a server. I mainly worked in restaurants. Busser, from server to management, fast food, and in casinos, to how one would basically be like a business owner. Started, basically from the bottom and worked my way up. And then when the whole COVID thing happened, hit everybody. I worked during COVID, and then when it started to settle down is when I got the backlash from it, and just been trying to put myself in other people's shoes. I didn't want to become a finger pointer or a judgmental person, even though I'm a very judgmental person. I don't mean to be. I guess it's more so me putting myself in someone else's shoes and going through that, and then understanding why they became a judgmental person and why some people are selfish or mean or stuff like that. There's some things that I do on purpose and some things that I'm unaware of. But other than that, I try to live my life to the fullest. I try to understand people just based on how they live their lives and why they live their lives for certain reasons, or what's their purpose in life and how they justify just basically living and just everything in between, I guess, stuff like that.
I'm a little curious, with your growing up, it sounds like you said drugs and alcohol were kind of a part of, I don't want to say normal, but just a kind of a part of growing up?
It was a part of growing up, definitely. It was always around. Like my first beer I had when I was, I want to say 3. I had colic as a child and nothing worked, so my father opened a Budweiser, put it in my bottle, and And it knocked me out. It worked. My father told my mother, he goes, well, it worked. I'm not sure how to explain growing up. I've been, I guess, mentally, I don't want to say sad or depressed, but I guess I could say that. After my father's passing, it was kind of, it hit really hard.
Well, how old were you when this happened?
I was 14
Oh, yeah.
when my father passed away.
Wow.
After I left the island of Guam, all I ever wanted was to go back.
He was still in Guam?
Mhm.
He passed? Gotcha.
That day, the whole family called me. They said, hey, we need to know what to do, because I guess I was next of kin to my father.
Okay.
Even though he has other kids, but they're all girls. I'm his
Right.
only son.
Okay.
So the whole family we need to know what to do. Like, do you want to pull the plug or not? Because he was in the ICU. He had broke his hips. Doctor told him not to drink while he was taking certain medications.
Mixed them or something?
Yeah, so I guess my father purposely followed that because he knew he was going to pass away anyway. So I just said pull the plug, see what happens. If he's in the ICU, his body's a vegetable, I don't want to keep him in him. Like, if he's gone, he's gone. You know what I mean?
And this is all over the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And my family, they didn't want to do anything because my father said, no, like, that's my boy. He's going to have the right to say this, that, what have you. I told my sister, well, you're older than me. She goes, doesn't matter. You're next of kin. So I said, okay.
So they put that decision
Yeah.
on you. I mean, how old are you?
14.
As a 14-year-old child, boy.
It was hard.
How do you even comprehend that decision?
You grow up really fast. I took care of my little siblings, even from when I was like 12, 13, 14. Would change their diapers. I helped them go to school. I would wake up at like 3, 4 in the morning just to make sure they were ready. They like to do things a certain way, so I did things for them. So I understood what it was like I was my mother's like right hand to my stepfather. He was there, he was a good man, he was a good role model, but he wasn't really like there, I guess. The alcohol kind of took more over his life than he could handle it. So I was always there for my mother, and being there for her meant I have to be there for my siblings. So that whole parent role, like, I don't know what it's like to raise kids, but I do, that 50-50. And then going through high school, I was involved with a lot of sports, extracurricular, stuff like that. So I was super busy, actually, back in high school. I went through the Orfino High School.
But when you were 14, sorry to come back.
No, it's okay.
Coming back here. I wanted you to finish that, like, I don't know what grade you're in when you're 14. Ninth grade, maybe?
Yeah, middle
8th
school.
or 9th grade?
Going into the 9th, yeah.
Yeah. And so you make that decision, and your dad passes away, and you said that really hit you. Like, tell me about that.
I was emotionless. Like, I didn't, not that I didn't care, but it didn't hit me at the time. Like, okay, father passed away. When it really hit me is when, I don't know when it really hit me, to be honest. My father was a good man. Always treated me with kindness. He always called me the king. He never let anyone discipline me or get mad at me. So I was a little badass kid. Like, I had no manners. I ran amok. And my family, they're good people. They've all been through, I guess I would say, BS, not because, they've all been through BS in life. And when I was going through my BS in life, it's not that they didn't want to help me or, they didn't want to see me struggle, but it was like, we all went through this one point in our lives, now it's your turn. So, and a lot of my family members, like, they work in the airport, they work in construction, they own businesses. So, and they've been through pretty much the same life path that I've gone through. And I guess I'm having a little bit too much fun with it. Just knowing already what it takes to go to work and pay bills and catch up on everything and the whole system itself. But I haven't gotten over it. My father's death, my aunt told me that he had purposely told them not to send me to Guam because he didn't want me to have that memory of him passing away and the whole rosary in his head, or in my head, I suppose. That's one thing I haven't been able to forgive my father. I think I would have been mentally okay if I had gone to Guam and did that whole process with them. Then after my grandmother passing, which is my father's mother, she was like my mother when I was growing up in Guam. So to me, it's basically like my parents passed away. And it's just been mentally hard. A lot of people say, like, go get help, go to therapy, stuff like that. But a lot of people that I've talked to that have gone through therapy and have gone through that process, it seems the same with every person, and you have to not know the person, keep it between, can't have it too personal, stuff like that. But I've supposed been my own therapist. I'll go through trials and errors and experiments in my life, just to say that I've been there, done that, and the reason why my parents say do as I say, not as I do, is for a reason. The whole spiel like that. So I do care a lot about people and what people think, how they live their lives. I care if, I don't want to see like homeless people, even though like I'm part of that homeless community. I chose to be part of that homeless community just due to the fact that like if one day I have to raise a family of my own, I know what to do, and I know what not to do, and teach them how not to do it, or teach them what to do. So
well, tell me about that. You chose to be part of the homeless community. Like, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Back when I was working in Las Vegas, as a server, I would always have cash, from collecting tips. And the people that were holding up signs, whatever I had, like give it a 20, 10, 5, or 1, I would always give it to them. I didn't know what they were going through, and I didn't want to be that person to be like, oh my God, like a homeless person, like it's their fault, So when shit hit the fan for me, sorry for language.
Hey, you be exactly who you are. You don't have to apologize.
My end was, I was that person that would always give money, you know what I mean? And I never questioned what their lives were, whether they messed up their lives or not. It wasn't my place to sit there and say, well, that's your fault, figure it out.
Yeah.
If I had it with me, even if it was a spare change, I would give it to them.
And when you say shit hit the fan, like, for you, what does that mean? Explain that.
For me, stuff hitting the fan was I was in a relationship for 4.5 years, and I guess that person showed me what love is and how love is supposed to feel, how love is supposed to be. To me, I find it weird that somebody would just gift something for somebody just because. Maybe that person like just knows and that person wants you to be happy, whatever it is. Me and my siblings, my mother and my father, like I guess we're scared of love. Like when we're shown what true love is and how it's supposed to be, like we tend to self-sabotage and just completely run away from it. I guess we're scared. I guess our hearts are too big, too fulfilling for our own good. So rather than accepting that type of emotion, we kind of just put it to the side. I want to say it could be mentally. I don't know how to formulate words, I don't know how to talk right.
But so henceforth, like you said earlier, dysfunction, part of the dysfunction. Maybe?
I would say part of the dysfunction. I see a lot of what the homeless community actually does. Some of them are, I want to say, low-key fucked off, and then a lot of them really aren't,
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is, so when shit hit the fan, you were in that 4-year relationship that ended, and you came. What happened after that?
To me, it felt like I didn't have anyone to do anything for. I feel like a serviceman, somebody who always has to do something for somebody else, even though it's me, my body. I have to take care of myself. I've always felt not good enough, even when I was on medication, even when the question of therapy and people who were part of that profession, that have tried to help me out with that. It just, for some reason, has always failed me in life that I just am not good enough for myself, I suppose. And I'm sure that's part of me having a mental illness. But unless it was truthfully and devoted to somebody, then I really wouldn't do it for myself. I guess life started to go good for me when I had a dog. I was like, okay, cool, I have a dog. Like, I gotta make sure, he has food, he has shelter, he has everything he needs. So just purely having that one pet, like, motivated me to say, okay, if I want this dog to have a good life, then I gotta put in the effort and hard work to make sure they have a good life, so.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know how else to explain that. That's weird. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, when you say that, I think about I have 2 daughters, and I go like, hey, if I want to, I need to show up and be there for them.
Right.
Like, I have to. Like, I have to feed them. I have to, like, it's just such a huge motivator.
Right.
So I can relate to that in a sense.
I go through a lot of, like, I guess I justify people who, I don't want to say steal, you know what I mean? But I guess I would justify people who steal. I guess it's part of that taking risks. Like, if you took a hit for God, like, what would you do? Like, would you really take a risk to go and, I guess, boost out a store and bring it for somebody and make sure they're okay, make sure they had all the necessities, just purely because you care about them, even if you met them for like 2 days. If you see that person valuable because they're a living being, then that's how I see it. I talk a lot of smack. Okay, I talk a lot of mad smack. I complain like a bat out of hell, but at the same sense, I'm always keeping everybody in the back of my head. I have a full list of people that I say, okay, I'm gonna do this for you, I'm gonna get this for you, even though I should be worrying about myself. It helps me in my life, worrying about these people and making sure that they have the things they need. Because that means, okay, so I gotta go to work, do this, that, what have you, just make sure these people are okay.
Yeah.
And if these people are okay, that means I'm okay.
Yeah.
To see that their lives are getting better, that means, okay, cool. I may not have been the 100%, support of that, but at least if I made somewhat of an effort and had them in the back of my head as a thought to say, hey, I did this for you just because I want you to, have easy life.
Yeah.
I don't want life to be harder. Cool. You happy? Cool. So I guess that's why I do things the way I do.
So you said your sister's here in Seattle. So when did you make the move? You said from Las Vegas to Seattle?
I did that about February, January, December, mid-November.
Mid-November. And so how long have you been unhoused then?
I've been unhoused for at least a year.
And so in Las Vegas you were unhoused?
I started in Las Vegas. And
So how did that happen? COVID? Part of COVID or no?
COVID was part of it, and then my ex and I, we were going through our own, like, just personal stuff. And I guess my heart hasn't been broken before, I guess, so.
There's a first time for everything, and that is a rough one.
I'm telling you, like, these people who date in high school, oh my gosh. I don't know how people do it. I said.
But that was the first time when that relationship ended?
Yeah, it was like the first time my heart ever got broke.
And that resulted in you, like, the coming to the streets?
Kind of, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Not that I got lazy, but I just didn't want to. Like, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to see anybody. I wanted the pain to go away. I didn't want to go see a doctor to take suppressants or anything like that and wing myself away from it. So I started drinking heavily. I started indulging in, and I didn't involve myself in harder drugs until I became homeless. And it was just purely, why not? And when I started doing that, I felt corrected. I didn't feel like I was, quote unquote, like, tweaking out, you know what I mean? I really did feel corrected. I felt like, wow, I'm able to organize my life. I'm able to be more structured. I'm able to think better. But then I do go off the rails sometimes. I do go overboard. And I suppose I don't realize that because I'm afraid to go back to being that sober person who doesn't know what to do or how to act and doesn't have anything organized unless I was drinking like my father or, taking substances like most of my family members. So
Right.
that's why I never really judged anyone about drinking and doing drugs and
Interesting.
stuff
So,
like that.
I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear what you're saying is when you're sober, it's hard to be in your own thoughts, in your own body. But when you are maybe coping with a substance, you feel more together, and more like you, in a sense. Interesting.
I became a raging alcoholic, would wake up and would have like 4 or 5 shots of straight vodka in the morning, and that was my, all right, cool, I'm able to move. Then in the afternoon, would smoke weed. I would smoke weed every single day. Then indulging in harder substances. It was like the harder the substance, the more corrected I felt in my mind, which for some people it's the complete 360 opposite, you know what I mean? But the only thing that I can recollect on was having chronic ulcerative colitis, which radiologist told me it's a woman's disease, it's rare in men. So the hormonal balance, for a man having it, it's a lot. And the medication I was being given, it was, my body rejected it. So I was allergic to all the medication and all the correct stuff that I needed. So, yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. So when you came here, you didn't live with your sister, you just came to the streets?
Kind of. Me and my sister were polar opposites. She's a masculine female, I'm a feminine dude. So we are complete opposites, but we're siblings, you know what I mean? So we do have that like sibling rivalry type thing going on. But at the end of the day, she is my sibling, I do care for her, I worry about her every day, and her well-being. So sticking to the streets is, I'm going through a full circle of, okay, well my sister did this, and we would talk every single day, and I don't think there's anything wrong with her. You know, she has her own of what she goes through, and it's hard for me to just say, okay, F you and leave, because that's how basically our family has treated her and has treated me. And for me to go and do that exact same thing towards her, I feel like I'd be no different than wanting to be not what my family members are. Not just saying that they're all messed up or anything like that. We just have a lot of tough love, and we just show it in a different way rather than saying it a lot. So she also said figure it out, which I love, you know what I mean? So I guess I'm figuring it out for her. She's, I don't want to cry. she's kind of like my rock. Thinking of, okay, if I need to go get better, if I need to get help and be sober and live a good life, then I'm gonna try to do that and make sure that she is too.
And she housed or unhoused?
She's housed.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, she's housed.
And also too, it's totally okay to cry.
I'm sorry?
It's totally okay to cry.
Okay.
If you want.
I know. Try not to.
Okay.
But yeah. I guess for people too that like hear me smack talking a lot and like see like me going around town and doing the things I do, it's it purely is for a reason, and why I speak upon like devilish things and holy things. It's I guess trying to figure out how to be human in the most unnatural and uncommon ways. Very interesting, and not a lot of people are built for that. Just I guess built for the abuse and built for the toll. I'm not saying that everyone is, you know, like abusing me or anything like that. I've met a lot of great people here in Ballard, and the anxiety of like on a Friday night or a Saturday night when I hear like the laughter and stuff, I don't know how to take it. I take it more so in a bad way, so I freak out and I panic and the anxiety's there. So I tend to be like, you know, let's walk the other direction. Me knowing that I already don't know whatever my neighbors are thinking and not thinking and how life is.
Yeah, are you kind of hinting at like you get self-conscious, like when someone laughs, you start to think, are they laughing at like what's going on here?
Like the stuff that I do, it's stupid funny. It's so stupid funny that if I were to see myself doing it, I probably would laugh
too.
So
in response, you kind of like act out in a certain way. Oh, gotcha.
So it's like I mean to do it, but I don't mean to do it. I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? It's
And so what do you do?
I guess I act and perform a certain way just to take the pain and suffering away from, and I guess it would be a distraction from a lot of pain and suffering. I would rather hear people laugh and have a good time rather than add to, I guess, war. You know what I mean? I feel like a peacemaker, but then not a peacemaker. Like I wouldn't mind being called a crazy jester. You know what I mean? If I get to see the kings and queens laugh, then all right. You know what I mean? Like, they're not focused on all the hardship. They're just having a good time. And to see people have a good time and laugh, and to see that, okay, cool, that makes me happy in life. It's just to see that other people are doing good, and I don't have to worry about them. I know me, for myself, you know what I mean? I don't want people to worry about me either. But as long as I can show forth that, hey, there's nothing to worry about me. If I can do anything for that person, then I will. If some way I can figure it out. But yeah.
yeah, gotcha.
So, yeah.
Is there anything that you'd want to say to the people of Seattle?
If I were to say anything to the people of Seattle, someone loves them. They're interesting. They definitely put me in check, for sure. I was warned about coming to Seattle. A lot of people, hold on, that's Seattle, Washington, that's third world. I was like, man, I was in 7 years in Vegas. So, and then I was, holy shit, my sister even warned me about coming to Seattle. And it's I didn't know what that meant to truthfully be happy with who you have, what you have, and realize that a single human being is worth more than any material. And I guess Seattle is one of those cities that has taught me that. Seattle taught me how to just sit down and listen. It taught me how to pretty much behave, focus on your surroundings, focus on other people, focus on that what you do, it's gonna have an effect on not just self, but everybody else. So to have to worry about everybody else, no. But to want to worry about everybody else, that's one's choice. But I like Seattle. They're cool. They're interesting. And I would tell Seattle, just keep being Seattle. I wouldn't change Seattle. I wouldn't tell them to do anything different. What they do is how they do it. And I'm not their dictator. I guess I would just be like, hey, we're stealing my identity? Hold on, let me help you. I just want 10% of it. You know what I mean? But
yeah. Cool.
It feels like a movie being in Seattle, especially in uptown, downtown, all around, Seattle in general. Yeah. It's like, how do I hear music in the back of my head? And there's no music playing. You know, that's just how it feels.
Let's see, you've been here since, when did you say? November?
About 3.5 months.
3.5 months, yeah. So welcome to Seattle. You just got here.
I know. I just got here.
I mean, we're not. Yeah, it's yeah. Welcome.
It was fun. I feel like I definitely feel part of the community. I normally tell people, and I'm like, hey, I'm the neighborhood crazy crackhead, okay? But I make sure everyone's cool, said, you know, like that's a title. I didn't know that was a title to be like the neighborhood crackhead, but I take pride in that because I don't know, it's not a job, but it's a job, you know. It's who would want to do that? Who would think of doing it? You know, and to say that they're okay and that they're happy with it, but will always be there for somebody. And yeah, I would lay my life down to make sure that even the whole city of Seattle, or anyone for that matter, I would replace my life for theirs, just to purely say like, hey, life is worth it. It's worth living. You just have to see the light of the day.
Yeah. I'm curious, from here, what do you want to do? Hopes and dreams? Any hopes and dreams?
I don't know. I really don't know what I want to do from here. I guess I would do my basic rounds. I guess I'm not ready for Seattle to... I guess I'm not ready to leave Seattle, rather it be uptown or downtown. I guess I do enjoy not having a tent and being outside in the cold, just for the experience. I do like to live for the experience, not to experience anything bad or stuff like that, but to understand it and to explain to other people like, hey, maybe this is why, and because I've been there, done that, is why I like to explain it to some people.
Yeah.
And I can be dumb myself too with a lot of stuff that I do.
Yeah.
And
I've never.
yeah.
I guess I've heard some people say when I first became unhoused, like it was like exciting to like this adventure.
Right.
Maybe that's what I hear you getting at. Like it's just kind of this.
It's
But I don't know.
to each of their own. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people who can hate it, like
Yeah.
they're like, this is horrible. Why would you want to do this? And then there's people like me. They're like, it's kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like just to be able to. You go dumpster diving. You can find a lot of stuff. It's especially some expensive stuff like some clothes or bags or anything like that. Like, hey, God made water and soap and dish soap. Throw it in the washer and it's good to go. You know what I mean? It's why someone else ain't gonna use it and it's still usable and it's nothing's wrong with it. Like, why would you not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're gonna find in Seattle that lots of people put stuff on the sidewalk. Like there's like people are constantly doing that, which is great. Reuse it. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah,
it's good to be a part of your story. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
I'm gonna grab that mic, take a couple
of course.
photos.